This is Collectibles.com Unscripted. I'm Dietrich.
And I'm Alex.
We're passionate about collecting, and we love talking with people who collect just about everything. Today, we have a Guinness World Record holder joining us. Neil Scallan collects Monopoly board games, and he currently has over 4,000 sets in his possession. So how did he get started, and where on earth does he keep all these board games? Neil, thanks for your time today.
Hi, Dietrich. Nice to spend time with you and Alex.
Awesome.
So, hey, listen, let's kick it off. I think the question is, we a little bit before the tape started rolling, Neil, we were, telling you about collectibles.com and really that there's a world of collectors out there that collect all sorts of things, right? Alex is a sports memorabilia and watch collector. I'm a lunchbox collector. When I tell people I collect lunchboxes, they usually kind of perk up and go, that's unusual. Well, you've got me beat. Monopoly boards. What got you started with Monopoly and Monopoly, even opposed to any other board game? What's the story?
About 25 years ago, I was on holiday, and where I went on holiday, normally I bring back magnets, postcards, stickers, but where I went, that was on the Monopoly board. So I thought to myself, what a great gift to myself to remind me of the holiday. Now, the dodgy thing about it is, we think the very first one I bought was in New Zealand, but it was 25 years ago. And if someone would say to me, what is your first set? I think it's really hard to pinpoint, but it was 25 years ago. And with Monopoly, when I saw it, it has so many languages. Nearly every country has one. Now, these days, nearly every city has one. Every state in the US has one, and Germany has one of the most city versions. There's hundreds of them, and same with the UK. And they'll bring a new set every few days, and for me, it's always hard to find them. But really, it was just literally on holiday. You had the squares on the board, and they were places that I'd been to, and I thought, how fantastic.
So the magnets and the postcards, they just weren't doing it for you.
Yep. No more magnets and postcards. That's it.
You said 25 years ago. So this was the time when you started really to collect seriously, or was you like at the beginning just buying for fun? And then you realized a couple of years later, maybe listen, this is super cool. I'm gonna truly start collecting those things and all the variations and so on. Or did it hit you immediately?
So when I started collecting, that was just like you say, it was fun, just buying one. And then you're finding there was loads around, and it was not really, I suppose, until 10 or 15 years ago when Amazon and eBay really hit the form, and you could buy a set from anywhere in the world, and they just literally blossomed. But for myself, I got contacted by Guinness, and the Guinness World Record, when I very first had it counted, was 500 by an American. And then they asked me, did I want mine counted? And lo and behold, I didn't actually know that Guinness were going to appear. So they come in their nice suits, had pictures. And the very first time it was counted was 1,669 for Guinness, but they found I had about 7 to 800 duplicates because I never actually had a list of what I had. And if I saw a set and I thought, that's nice, have I got it or not? Well, I'd rather have two than none.
That's super funny. And this actually leads to my next question. So, back then you had many duplicates. How's it right now? Like, how do you keep track of all those boards? And do you have a list now, or you just don't care, you just buy duplicates and it's just fun for you?
I have a friend, Matthew, who runs World of Monopoly, and he has an update list of mine. Every time I buy a set, I take a picture of the front, the back, and the barcode side, and the year. So he literally lists it all for me. And so if Guinness ever wanted a list, he could just bring it up and he can put it in alphabetical order. He can put it in country order. He's a bit of a miracle man, but he loves Monopoly himself. So it's nice to have someone with the same passion. And I don't know about yourself with what you both collect, but you don't really get that much help from the Monopoly makers. You know, it's now I got one from New Zealand last week, and that was my 4033. And one I got today in the post, which is 4034, which is very sorry about this, just standing up,
Yeah.
which is a very rare Italian one from
Yeah.
1991. So something like this, to find it sealed, which is, you think it's 30 something years old and someone's kept this somewhere, kept it sealed. And I thought myself, it was quite expensive, but it was well worth having because very rare you'll even find a version of that sealed without being Italian. When we were younger, we bought a toy to play. We didn't want to buy it and keep it sealed. We wanted to throw it around the
Yeah.
garden. If it's a car, it'll be raced around the floor. Now we've got to a stage where we're hoping that someone has bought something, like for me, a Monopoly set, put it in the corner somewhere for many, many, many years, then just think to themselves, I'm bored of this now. And the other thing which has been good for me, which not at the moment, when people used to travel, they would bring something back, and it would normally be a Monopoly set. So after about a few months, they'll go, hey, why have I bought this Monopoly set? It's in the wrong language. I can't play it. Let's stick it on eBay. And then it's like a mad rush then to see which collector will bid the most or will want it the most. So sort of like say, I really want that.
Neil, speaking about packaging, how many do you know offhand? Like when your friend who's doing the cataloging of this, I mean, do you know how many offhand are still sealed? Because we know that in other categories of collectibles, right? If a box is original seal, whether it's an action figure or another type of board game or trading cards, value tends to go up. But as passionate collectors, it's always the irresistible itch to want to look at the product. So how many of yours are still sealed?
All but 100, I would say. So over 3,900 are sealed. With like anything, you buy an action figure. As soon as you open that packaging, 80% of your value's gone down the toilet. Now,
it's like driving a car.
It is. Yeah, the minute you drive that car, you've lost thousands of pounds, dollars. So for myself, literally, you've just got to keep it as pristine as you can. And it happens with anything you collect. That people like Matchbox Toys in the UK, they want it with a perfect box, and that means you've got to find someone who's been collecting years, who's collected them, and that is what we do with Monopoly. So it's quite funny, after I'd done the Guinness count, 1,669, we never got it counted with Guinness again until 1,999, which then opened up the world to me to say, hey, where am I going to get my 2,000 set? So then it was a bit of a hunt down to say, where can I go? So Winning Moves Australia, they contacted me and said, hey, do you know that Sydney Harbour Bridge have a Monopoly set?
Wow.
I said, do they? He goes, yeah. Now, I asked my girlfriend, look, would you like to go to Australia for a holiday? Which we did.
Oh, you old romantic, you. Let's go to Australia
and I did. They managed to get my 2,000 set on the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Yeah. Now, what they did, because you're not allowed to take anything up there, they had a hollow box and they attached it to my wrists. And so they said, this is your 2,000 set. Boom. But when we went downstairs, they had the actual set with ribbons on and everything, and they were happy to get my
Right.
2000 set. And then I had a radio on every state in Australia. It was all set up brilliant, saying he's come all the way from the UK just to buy his two. And we had a joke. There was a university there, and they said, "Oh, we've got a set. Would you like to meet up?" And they got one of the blokes to turn up, and they told him as a as they wound him up to say he dressed up as like old Uncle Pennybags,
Oh yeah.
Mr. Monopoly. And when he turned up and no one else was wearing anything Monopoly related, he went, "Oh, you caught me out." So, but I got quite a few sets in Australia. At the moment, my collection hasn't been counted since I was on 2249. So it's been 3 or 4 years. The problem is, I don't know if you ever used Guinness before. Unless you get it filmed by BBC, they want £10,000 a day to
What?
come and count.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
so
on.
it's not. No, that's how much they want a day. So the very first time it was counted, I had it recorded on the BBC One show. So BBC, Guinness love each other. So Guinness come for free because they're getting their PR too.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
second time, when I had the 1999, because there was a local set come out for Royal Tunbridge Wells, I got two mayors to come, my local mayor and the mayor from Royal Tunbridge Wells, and Guinness accepted them because I had a video of both of them going click, 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 click 1999 times.
Switching gears, let's not talk too much about Guinness because we want to know more about you. And you said a couple of things about on the hunt. That you're on the hunt. You're planning your trips around some of these events. You got your girlfriend in tow. You guys are out there talking about pristine packaging. Do you have any additions that are particularly rare or of high value that you're most proud of, or that they're the rarest, the highest value? I think that would be super interesting to know here.
Okay, so when Winning Moves sold their millionth set in the UK, they made a set, 100 of them, and it was so that it's as limited as 100, and it had on there how many sets and what sets they sold. So when that day, when Guinness come for the very first time, every person who was there signed it for me. All the people from BBC, Guinness itself, my friends who helped me count, Matthew. So that set could be worth £400 or £500. I don't know if you have Franklin Mint in you must have, do you have Franklin Mint? So I
Yep.
bought a Spanish set the other day, and I never even knew they had a Spanish set out. And this chapter, I got it given as a gift, and he sold it for 120 quid. And I'm thinking, wow, for me, it was like the Holy Grail. And if we know, Deirdre, I haven't even announced yet what my 4,000, because on my Facebook page,
Yeah.
I've only listed up to 3,965
Oh,
because it takes a while. And on
yeah.
my Instagram, I had about 3,500. And Instagram's better because you can copy in all the company ones that I got.
Hmm.
Would you like to see what my 4,000 set was? You'll be the first person to know.
Yes.
Sure.
Breaking news.
Yeah, there you go. You see, so 2 seconds. Now it's literally.
Are you sitting just surrounded with Monopoly boxes? is there?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's
All
unbelievable.
right.
Awesome.
Real
Now
deal.
this is not the big room which I've got upstairs. The one I've got upstairs is solid. Is literally floor to layers up there.
Yeah.
If you want to have a, but let me
Yeah.
just find this
All right.
set for you. I'll be 2 seconds.
All right. That's
'Cause
okay. I can imagine there's maybe some challenges between the inconsistency of boxes. There we go. Maybe I'm overthinking. I don't know, Alex. Help
This
me.
is my number 4,000.
Oh, come on.
Can you read where it's from?
Well, I'm going to
Is it
screenshot
Hawaii?
it.
Is it Hawaii? It's going to be Hawaii, or what is it?
Hold on.
Vanuatu? No, wait.
I
Vanuatu.
the the Vanuatu Emergency Services.
So yeah, so it's Vanuatu. It's
Oh,
one of these little islands in the it's near like Fiji and
Oh,
Cook
Fiji.
Islands. So, and this is a charity edition too. So
wow.
to get this from all the way from there, it's come 18,000 kilometers in a box, and they don't even know themselves yet. It's number 4,000. I
Wow.
tried to get it all listed by Christmas, but I failed a bit, you see.
So, what do you think? How much, maybe you don't want to answer it or whatever, but give us a ballpark. How much did you spend on all those items in all those years? Is it like a lot? Is it because I can tell you, like, being a card collector, a sports cards collector, it's been painful throughout the last specifically 3 years because in COVID the prices skyrocketed. Before it was
Yeah.
better, and now it's getting better again. But I don't know, like for Monopoly, is it being world record holder? How was it?
So if you think, as much as I've got my 4,034, I've got another 1,500 duplicates still, 700 loaned out to a Monopoly museum in Belgium. So my 4,034, I would have spent about £250,000, so about 300,000 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So, but the problem is now, if you want to sell them, who's got 300,000 US dollars just sitting there going, do you know what? I'm going to spend it on 4,034 Monopoly sets.
yeah.
And it's not easy to sell as well, because if you're going to start selling your collection, other people who collect will always want to cherry pick your best ones. And then you're going to be left with a lot of bog standard ones. But as well as that, the second biggest collector is about 2,500 behind me. So there is a big gap between second and third. There may be just a few sets, maybe 10 or 30 sets. They're really close. But
Yeah.
between myself and the second biggest collector, 2,500 difference.
And how big
Yeah,
do you think, like, is this whole vertical? Is like, how many collectors are out there who are collecting specifically Monopoly board games? Do you have like a
There's
feel for
quite
that?
there is groups that we buy and sell and put information on. And at the moment, one of the countries which are up and coming and making loads is Australia.
Mhm.
But I don't know, in America now, you have a company called Top Trumps Winning Moves, and they are making city sets every week. One is coming out. And for me to buy it with the shipping and tax, each set would be £56, so about 75 US dollars. And if I buy that set for 75 US dollars and then next year I don't want it, I couldn't sell it over here for 75 US dollars.
Yeah.
People like themes, they like Star Wars, they love Disney, they love their theme ones, where city ones, and like, if be known, I do apologize, but like German cities, there's lots.
Yeah.
But if I buy lots from there, a lot of people over here in England wouldn't want German city
Oh, really?
because they
I'm
don't know
surprised.
German. Well, there's
At
some
least he waited till we're
fantastic.
halfway through the show to mention this. That's all right, Alex. Don't.
But as I said, Germany have some fantastic additions. And did you know? Because I didn't. Now, when I was a child, Pied Piper of Hamelin. Now, I never knew Hamelin existed. I just thought it was like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
But there is a place called Hamelin, and they've got two Monopoly sets, and I managed to get both. And I was well happy to have it, because for me, it's such a famous place.
Neil, Alex and I, we always talk was, we live and breathe it, right? Collectibles. And it's just thinking about the motivations, right? And it's, there's a recurring word, passion, and I joked about, your passion is pretty evident just in talking with you. You love to talk about your hobby and the art of collecting. Curious, you just gave a ballpark of what you think you've spent, and two thoughts come to mind and two questions. Number one, when you got started doing this, you probably weren't thinking about a profit motive or investment motive. You were just
No.
you fell in love with it and you started buying, you started collecting them. Are they now kind of looking at it? One, they must appreciate in value, right? So what the number you gave us is what you spent on them, right? What you think you've spent on them. But quite frankly, if they were appraised, some of your cherries, some of your grails might appraise for a lot more. So you may be in the money. That number one. Number two, sort of Alex and I would talk about watch collecting. He tells me, like, look, Rolex, for example, is something that always retains its value. You're not gonna, it may not go up a lot, but it retains its value. Would you say the same holds true for certain Monopoly sets?
So you have the certain ones, like there's ones which people sought after, like in America, one of your most sought after sets, love him or hate him, is Trump. He has his own edition.
Wow.
Now, that one goes for a few £100.
Wow.
And so he may not have made too many, but it's literally something. And I even have people having a go at me because I've got Russian Monopoly sets, and they say to me, you should burn them. Look what Russians are doing to the world. Burn all your Russian sets. So I used to have to say, like, Russian as a language,
Yeah.
I could never understand it, like Greek and Polish. I love Greek and Polish sets. Never gonna get to speak it, and I like Russian.
Hey, Neil, careful, let's not create an international incident here, okay? We're just talking about...
No, yeah, but I sort of like, now I can't say I like Russian language sets because someone's always gonna get upset.
Yeah, someone's going to get upset about everything, right? Yeah, you got what you got.
That's it. But the problem I find is with my sets, you've still got, I think, like at this moment, you could say, is it a buyer's market because people haven't got disposable cash? But sets are still sort of like some sets are keeping their value. And for me, like there was one come out a couple of weeks ago in America, and there's about 5 or 6 on eBay, Dell Industries, and some of them want about $200 for that. That's without the shipping and the taxes. So I sent an email to Dell, didn't get a reply. They didn't like Guinness World Record holder that much. But
Dell, the computer maker? Dell.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Dell, Dell. Yeah. So you've got to wait like 2 or 3 months after Christmas for people to say, well, actually, I've liked this set, but, hey, hum, let's see how much I can make on the world of eBay on these sets.
It's so funny, Dietrich. I jump in here because, in the watch world, you have the same kind of, back in the day, Rolex used to make special editions, for example, for the pizza, Domino's pizza, right? And they had printed the logo on the Rolex on the dial. And now those pieces go like for 5 or 6x of the usual piece, premium, right? So it's like it's crazy, and the ones with a special print on it, it's crazy, and it something
limited numbers.
Alex, we may be fact checked here. I did my ears hear correctly? Rolex made special for Domino's pizza.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
That is a crazy brand partnership there. I would not have thought that, but okay.
It's like Neil said, like it was supposed to be only for the the best franchisees or whatever, and they were doing this like special things back then. They're not really doing it now, but those pieces are highly collectible right now.
Wow. Okay, just a couple of questions, then we can take a walk here with you and see what else you got. But in terms of kind of like looking at, well, the question was asked earlier, but I don't think we really fully got an answer. You're part of certain groups, monopoly groups. You've got your ear to the street, so you kind of know what's going on. But I mean, as you're always on the hunt for things, number one, like what's the best source of information? Like how are you finding out about new sets or rare things? And do you spend time in these groups negotiating and trading with other collectors? Like, do
Oh,
you get most of your things
well,
new or trade? Go ahead.
so I can swap with people. I've got a friend in France, and he's getting me French versions, and he liked my American duplicates. And I said I got 1,500 duplicates, and that's money tied up. That's so much space as well. Imagine if I could sell them 1,500, I could then get another 1,500, as in ones I needed. But
Yeah,
again, you see, well, I need some room because at the moment, now I did say to my girlfriend I would stop at 4,000, you see, because she said they're everywhere, you know. So my idea at the moment is I want to find a museum who
yeah,
would like to have them on loan for
yeah,
free, so then I can get them counted. And
yeah.
then I think, look, I always say to people, every household has a Monopoly set. And people then come round to me and say, I'd have a Monopoly set, but it's up the loft.
Yeah, here
You
you
know,
go.
and I say, well, look, you're splitting hairs by saying your Monopoly set's up the loft because it's still in your house.
Yeah.
Everyone does have a Monopoly set. I'm
Hey,
sure of it. And
hey, Neil, you told us about going through the Guinness process, but I'm sort of astounded, and it just kind of popped in my head right now. Has anyone from Hasbro ever reached out to you? I mean, you are a brand ambassador. Talk about a museum. Maybe you can help Hasbro build their Monopoly museum if they don't already have it.
well, I'm actually 1 mile away from the European headquarters of Hasbro.
Something tells me that's not an accident, Alex.
No, it was just fluke that they have a big, massive trading estate right next to where I live. So if you were Hasbro and I went to you
Yeah.
with my Guinness certificate and said, "Hi there, can I see anyone from Hasbro?" Would you let me in?
It depends on. Well, you look like an honest guy. Yeah, I mean, you've got a story. I mean, you've got a story to tell. I mean, showing up at the doorstep with a Guinness Book of World Records certificate, that may not be persuasive enough, but
Yeah.
clearly you've got a story to tell. I mean, do they follow you on social media? At least they should be doing
No,
that. Oh, come on.
no,
Oh,
no,
wow.
no, not at all. No, that's it. I don't get. There's. It's like my friend who does the World of Monopoly webpage. He does it for free, so it's
Yeah.
given everyone for every set that comes out, free advertisement, worldwide coverage, but no one's there really to help. Maybe with Alex, does anyone in the watch world ever help you out, Alex?
From the manufacturers, you mean? I mean,
Yes,
not really, but usually
that's what I
because
mean.
Yeah.
but it's on my list, so I'm chasing them. But they will, I think, at one day, because I know some collectors got some help from them for sure.
By the way, just speaking before we shift gears, and we do want to see your big room, but I don't know if you
Yep,
saw, I held this up because actually this is
yep,
sealed, and this is even before I knew that we were talking with you. They ain't cheap. They're not cheap. I think it was $30 or $40 that I paid for it, and it was just standard, plain vanilla Monopoly board. Nothing fancy about it. So hearing your story is pretty inspiring, and really thinking about how there's different variations. I mean, it's funny, Alex, like listening to Neil, it's just like cards, right? Just like everything else, different variations, different categories, different niches. I love it. I think it's really cool.
I have a question, Neil. Like,
Yeah.
is there like a grail which you are after, or generally speaking, like what is the most thought after or the expensive one? Like, where with the comics you have the famous whatever Superman and Batman, the first edition. With cards you have the Mickey Mantle card. Is there something like that in the world of the Monopoly collectors?
So a few years ago, there was a set made by, I've got to say it right, Swarovski. Like they do lots of like glassware, and they made 500.
Swarovski, I think, right? Come on, Alex.
You've got it.
Swarovski,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. See, and they made 500 sets for the 80th or 90th, maybe 85th edition. 500 sets, and they were $500. They were sold out within minutes.
Wow.
But we don't know if they are bought by collectors or someone who wants to buy something to make money in the future, thinking this is something which is pretty rare and hard to get hold of. I only know a few collectors who got them, and another set I'm looking for, which there is one on eBay at the moment for $800. When they shut down one of the factories in Boston, they made a set, but quite a few factories have shut down over the years, so they're getting to be common, But just talking about price, remember you were saying about the $39. When I used to buy sets from the USA, they were always $40 or $39.99. Now you're looking at $50, $55. So everything's gone up.
Yeah. Well, it's another one kind of related, makes me think Lego sets. I mean, we don't need to talk about Lego. That'll probably be a separate episode, but Lego sets are also, niche and pretty expensive. Well, you said something earlier and I said only last question, Alex, I don't know if you have something, but when you were talking about boxes getting damaged, you as an elite collector, but what other collectors are looking at, are these valued? Are these Monopoly sets valued according to condition? Like you look at the edges, you look at the corners. Is the
yes,
not just the fact that it's sealed, but if there's a crease or wrinkle or a dent, it lowers the value.
It always does. That's it. They want it completely perfect, spotless.
Wow. Yeah.
That's it.
So
if you have
storage conditions definitely matter then. And I won't even ask you about whether you've got all this insured or not. You'll keep that your little secret, I guess. But can we go see the big room?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Oh,
wow. That's what's going on. Wow.
All the boxes were blocking out the light of the sun. So many boxes.
I buy big sets like this. When they make one set, they bring a advertising set. So you got.
Wow, that's amazing.
Keeping sets, and even when trying to stack them, you're trying to keep them straight and everything. So in that room, there's lots of too many in that room. But so you can just see now. So if a museum does want to have my 4034, then what I would do then is concentrate on selling the duplicates. And if with the museum's allowance, maybe they'll want a few more, as if I did get any more,
As we wrap it up here, you mentioned something right now about the number and that you're going for 10,000. We put together some fun facts for our listeners here. Monopoly, first board game, was created in 1935. All right. Estimated 10,000 sets in existence. So you've got 4,000. You've got some work to do, Neil. Stuff sitting around.
60% to look for. Yeah.
Neil has twice as many sets as the next highest Monopoly collector. You started collecting in 2005, and you were crowned the Guinness World Record holder for, the 2,249 different games in 2018.
Yes, that was the last time it was counted. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, look, really great spending time with you once again. For our listeners, Neil Scallan, our guest today, Guinness World Record holder for his Monopoly collection. Thanks for your time today, Neil. If you've liked what you've heard today on Collectibles.com Unscripted, make sure you like, follow, or subscribe to the podcast, and be sure to check out Collectibles.com, where hundreds of thousands of collectors just like you hang out. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.